Hello, my friend.
Hello, Thomas. How are you?
I'm fine. Do you hear me?
I can hear you and I can see you. How is everything with
Perfect.
you?
Yeah, it's not so good today, to tell you the truth. I have a pain in my tooth, so I after this I will go to the dentist.
That's not good. I hate toothaches. They are the
It's
worst.
horrible. But luckily I have strong painkillers now, so I be extra funny.
Yeah. That's always good. And, before we talk about Leviathan 3, you guys
Yeah.
played Portugal in a festival in the north of Portugal. How was,
Yeah.
to be back in Portugal, after a while?
That was great. We had a blast there, and Portugal is so nice. It's always great to come back to Portugal. You have to tell you, between you and me, much better food than Spain.
I've been to Spain a few times, and I have to agree with you. Even though I like, it's better than the UK. If you go to the UK, or
Isn't everything better than the UK? No, but I shouldn't. I mean, there is a lot of good Spanish food, but I because I'm interested in food. They have a hard time to spice the food here really good.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, we love.
but some stuff is really good.
Yeah, my dad was a big fan of spicy foods, and he
Yeah,
would make like a proper, his own spice, and
yeah,
it was just one of those that, like, I'm talking about like a very tiny bit would be
yeah.
enough for a dish for four people, a tiny
Hmm.
bit, and
Yeah.
the mouth would just freaking burn.
I remember my dad when I was a kid. I was not more than 4 years old. Here is Tabasco. You should learn. But I'm
And
still alive.
yeah, it's for me, like being Portuguese, like especially in the chicken when it's on in the charcoal with a
Yeah,
bit of spice, you know,
yeah,
does I don't care if the UK have Nando's because they steal that from us anyway, but
yeah,
the chicken like cooked here in Portugal, like on the charcoal with a bit of spice, it's
mm,
probably one of the best things
yeah, yeah, yeah.
food wise. I just, I may have to go out and get some chicken now.
That sounds good. I hope this interview never comes out in England.
No. Well, maybe they will learn a thing or two about fruits.
Yeah, and they stone me when I come to tour.
And that show in Portugal was great, but you guys have in January, I think, a big show in Mexico,
Yeah,
with the orchestra. Are you guys looking forward to that? Because it's going to be the biggest Therion headline show ever.
ever. Yeah, we're looking forward to it very much, and it's going to be so exciting to get together with the orchestra and everything. And the tickets are selling like, I don't know, butter in sunshine. It's fantastic. So we're very excited about that, and yeah, it's going to take a lot of hard work, because when you infuse an orchestra into a rock band, it's two different worlds that meets.
Yeah.
So it's going to take a lot, but it's going to be very cool, I think.
Are you guys already planning on the set list wise? Is that defined already for the songs you're going to play?
Yes, it is. More I can't say.
No, no, I don't want you to reveal the secrets. I think it would spoil the fun. But
But I think we might play to Therion. I think so.
maybe it's a song you guys rarely play,
Yeah,
anyways.
we can't let that out of the set list. It's
Yeah,
impossible. But
and
I don't mind.
yeah,
I've sang that so many times now, but it's not a song that I listen to at home. But when you play it in front of a big audience, it's magic.
yeah. The reaction. I mean, when it starts, the crowd goes fucking crazy. I saw that. I was there at the festival at the
Yeah,
Milagro Taleiro, and when you guys start that, you know, everybody knew that one. Everyone.
yeah, 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 yeah. It's like that. And I
It's
remember, I remember Mats Levin, the previous singer in Therion, the guy before me, when he joined the band. he was asking, he didn't know anything about Therion. He told Christopher, do we have to play this shit song? And Christopher just looked, it's our biggest hit.
It's crazy. I've been a Therion fan for a long time, and it's just one of those songs that, it's so catchy. It's so like happy.
Yeah, it is.
It's
one of those songs you write once in a lifetime, maybe. You know?
Well, what is the song that you wrote in your lifetime that you're the most proud of?
Oh, that's a tough one. But I know a very important song that I wrote. It was a song I wrote when I was 18 years old for my first band. And it was called Free Like an Eagle. And it wasn't the first song I wrote, but the first song that came out that I wrote, that I've written. And it became a big hit in Sweden. And that song kind of opened up every door for me, So without that, I'd probably not be sitting here.
Yeah. And,
that's the most important.
Yeah. And when you're writing songs, you write for Therion as well, but you write for other artists. You normally write with what you're feeling, or someone asks you, like, I'd like to have a song a bit like whatever. And can you do that, or you prefer to, have your own inspiration when you're writing?
I don't sit around and wait for inspiration. That I'm going in here to the studio. Sometimes I just have to work with singing stuff, so I don't write. But if I'm gonna write something, I just go in and start to playing, start to play around with the piano or guitar, and sometimes good stuff comes out, But and sometimes it comes from like a gift from above. Yeah. I remember when I wrote Citra Ara, that song. It was the first song I wrote for Therion, actually. I was going to the supermarket in the snow back home in Stockholm. And I walked in this rhythm and I started to sing for myself, making up melodies. And then come, oh, I got to remember that. I took up my phone and recorded it, and then called the guy and, can I borrow your studio for just 2 hours? Okay, but you have to pay. Okay, I pay. I went to make a very simple demo for that, so I should remember it.
Yeah, and
it was another time. Now I have my own studio, so now I can do it myself. But back then I didn't.
Yeah. Do you wake up in the middle of the night with ideas sometimes, or you prefer to have like your scheduled time to write?
I'm a night crawler. I like to work in the night, but the problem is if I wake up in the night, I wake up to go to the toilet. It's that age now, But it has happened. I dreamt once, I remember, that I was writing a song together with David Coverdale, everybody. And it was the song. And I was still living home with my parents. So I went up, and we had an electric organ at home. So I went up and I got to go to the organ. And while I was walking to that room, the song started to disappear. And when I sat there, it was gone. Yeah. But it was the song. Absolutely Whitesnake's biggest hit.
It's dreams are a bitch sometimes, because they are, especially the good ones, when you're enjoying. I once dreamed that I was with Randy Rhoads. I used to play guitar, and I remember vividly the dream, and he was teaching me the vibrato that he used when he was playing. Yeah. And I got up and I couldn't play for the life of me, and I was like, why does this happen to me? I was in the dream, I was, he was teaching me, and, I was...
You were so good.
Yeah, I was playing it, and then all of a sudden I wake up and I tried it and I couldn't for the life of me to do it.
Yeah.
It's
it's funny. It can be totally crazy.
Yeah.
But back to the writing. I mean, if somebody asks me to write something, and I know who will sing it, I'm trying to hear that girl or boy in my mind, and how would she do this or how would he do this, and that can be very funny too. That's more like handicraft than art, but it's very funny.
Yeah. And then, for Leviathan 3, obviously this was already planned, the trilogy for the albums. When were these last bulk of songs written? Were they from the beginning of Leviathan 1, or you wrote some of these after?
Yeah, no, I can tell you how this was. We were talking about we should make a new album, but talk vaguely about it. And then came COVID and changed everything,
Yeah.
Here in Spain, I don't know how it was in Portugal, but here they locked down totally.
Yeah, it was the same.
Totally, yeah. And so I was speaking to Christopher in the phone. Now when we have time, let's write a new album. Okay. So I was asking Christopher, what do we have any special line we should go to? Yeah, it should be good, he said. That's a typical Christopher answer. Okay, cool. So I can write what I want then, as long as it's good. As long as I think it's good. Yeah. So he did as well, and we sent files to each other forward and back because he lives in Malta.
Yeah.
And, we tossed ideas forward and back. And before we knew it, we had a pile of songs. And all of them were very different in styles, So what are we going to do? So Christopher said, let's not make one album. Let's make 3. A trilogy. And call them Leviathan 1 and 2 and 3. And I was like, okay, not a bad idea. So for the first one, we collected some songs that we thought were like commercial in a Therion way. And for the second one, a little darker, not darker like Slayer or Venom or that stuff, but in the atmosphere, so to speak. And for this third one, we have like When We Go Bananas. It's more. Some of it is really progressive, and some of them has crazy arrangements, and these songs on the number 3 are very playfully written, playfully arranged, and with inspiration from strange stuff. I was in the studio and the TV was on in the living room, and there was a documentary about flamenco. And I heard that, and I wanted to scream, "Can you please take that down?" But then I wonder if I can write something for Therion influenced by that, So I wrote a song which is on the new album. It's called Duende.
Yeah. And
it was influenced by that. And I sent that to Christopher, that song. And I was thinking, he might not like this. But this is great. Nobody did this. So that's how we did it. And that's the fun thing with working with Therion, because you can be very free. There are no real rules.
Yeah. And, I was listening to that. Well, I listened twice to the album. And, one of the things for me, this is the more, from the 3 records, this is the more Therion one for me.
Maybe it is, yeah. It's very hard. It's good to hear from you because, when you live so close to something that we are doing, you get home blind.
Yeah.
And we don't listen in the same manner that, for example, you do or other people do. So it's very good to say, maybe you're right. Maybe it is more Therion. Yeah.
Yeah. And, even you can call the strangest arrangements on some of the songs, they still fit in what, Therion has been throughout all these years. There was, as you were saying, there was really no real boundaries in the way the music was written, because like the first one, you have that very harsh vocals, which is something we probably haven't heard in a long time in Therion. And, I was like, what the fuck is happening here? And then you have, the voice, I think it's Laurie's voice. And, I just...
Yeah, it's very cool. I mean, we are not really trying to recreate the past or anything like that. But sometimes, you get that vibe anyway.
Yeah.
And that's cool. And I mean, on this new album, this is where we are musically now. And God knows where we are tomorrow. But right now we're here,
Yeah. And who does those arch vocals on the first song?
Pardon me?
Who sings the arch vocals on that first one?
Well, it's not me. That's for sure.
No, I would, I would partially guess it wasn't you. I know Christopher back in the day, he used to growl a bit, but
I've been asking Christopher to do it now, live, but he refused. He's not. No, I don't want. That's the short answer I get.
Yeah. But, it's a great start. And then with the Ruler of Tamag, you get that absolutely beautiful acoustic intro. And, it's a beautiful song. And it was one that you wrote as well, or at least
I wrote.
The idea was...
I wrote that actually. It was not... I wasn't thinking about Therion when I wrote that. I was going to give it to another artist. But I sent it to Christopher. Listen to this, and this is great stuff. But we need to Therionize it, he said. So he wrote the harder part. That's his. But it's turned out very good. I'm very pleased with it.
Yeah, and I'm glad you didn't send to another artist.
Yeah.
And Maleficium, it's another song that I wouldn't say it's the typical Therion song, but at the same time, it's a Therion song. And I like because it's much more like traditional heavy metal in the sense. The rhythm.
Yeah, and it's pretty complex, It's pretty complex. For me, that song is one of my favorites now, but it was not in the beginning, Sometimes it's like when you record a song, you don't have the feeling for it really. But now when I listen to it, I think, wow, this is really good, when it's mixed and everything.
Yeah. So
sometimes you really change your mind.
Yeah.
So that's one of my favorites as well.
Yeah, it's, listening to it, it's a song. I mean, the song stands out, but I think the old record, first of all, I wasn't expecting, compared to the other two, that it was going to be like a double vinyl record, because the other ones have been single and this one is longer. And when I saw the length of the songs, I was like, okay, I need time to listen to this. And I was very pleased with the approach that you took for this third album, because as I said, I think it's a very Therion record, but it's very eclectic at the same time, without being too weird or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's complex, but it's also very, how can I say, it's very accessible.
Yeah.
Which I see as something, in my opinion, very good.
Yeah. I mean, when you have a great melody, that's,
that's basically what it's about. The rest is fluff around it.
That's one of the things I admire about you Swedish people. It's how good you guys are writing melodies. It's something that, since ABBA and throughout all these years in metal and even the extreme bands, like Arch Enemy or whatever, the melody, it's an essential part of the music. And it's something that we talked about UK earlier, but some American bands sometimes forget that side as well.
Yeah, but as you mentioned, ABBA, for example, whether you're a heavy metal guy or not, you can never take away that the melody creating that they have.
Yeah.
You can't look away from that. It's a genius work,
Yeah.
They kind of opened the door for every Swedish band. After ABBA came Europe, Roxette, I Can Continue, it was like, because before ABBA we were like shy. No, we shouldn't go outside Sweden, should we? But then we said, oh, they could, then maybe we can. And the self-confidence began to grow,
Yeah. And, you talked about Europe, and sometimes people just know Europe for the Final Countdown. But if you listen to all the other songs,
yeah,
there are so many great songs, some great melodies, and especially, I'm a big fan of John Norum guitar playing.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy is brilliant, and
absolutely.
People just talk about the Final Countdown.
Yeah, because that hit they had with that song is so enormous. It goes beyond the rock stage. It's one of these songs that are played in sports events and everything. It's you cannot write that big hits twice. They have great songs. They have Carrie. They have Cherokee.
Yeah.
They have, I saw them on their first tour actually when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to be like them. And today we're friends,
And they have a great, I interviewed Joey, a couple of weeks ago, and I talked about the Final Countdown, and he said there was only one time they were thinking of not playing the song. It was in a festival, but because of bad weather, everything went to shit. So that they didn't have the chance not to play it, and they saw that as a sign of no, we have to play the song every night.
Yeah. Of course. I saw them. They were playing in the millennium shift in year 2000. In 12 o'clock they started on a stage in the water in Stockholm, and it was both Kim Marcello and John Norum at that gig. And I saw that, and after that they got together again.
Yeah.
That was kind of magic. That was cool.
No, they're a great band. And, going back to Leviathan III, Ayahuasca, I think that's how you pronounce it. It's another standout song for me because it's Therion, but at the same time, there's like some psychedelic elements there. And it's mid-tempo, which, it's something that I enjoy as well. I enjoy the kind of music as long, again, there's a good melody there. I'm hooked. It's fine.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's fast or slow or mid-tempo. But this one is...
I remember that song. When we wrote that, it was a lot of ping pong forward and back with that song. And I came up with with the title, Ayahuasca, because it sounded, like you said, very psychedelic.
Yeah,
it's something I would never dare to try, but How
long did it take, for this song specifically to be finished?
Well, the demos are faster than the recordings, the actual recordings for the record, because the demos are like a sketch, So, but let's say 3-4 days maybe.
Oh, that's not too bad. Yeah. There are songs that take much longer than that.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I get like a song or a verse or a chorus of Christopher, and it's only guitars and drum machine, top, tip, top, tippy, top, tippy, top. And I have to, what should I do here? What happened if I put the bass here and I play the bass and then come up with a melody over that? And I send it back and he fixes a little with that, and it grows like a baby,
Yeah. That's great. And when you record, are the vocals the last part to be done normally?
Yeah, normally. Sometimes you can hear, we should definitely have a fiddle here or something, or real brass or detail things.
Yeah.
But yeah, the lead vocals are the last thing that we do.
Yeah. Did it ever happen like when you recorded a part and then, let's say, Laurie recorded her part and you felt that your vocals weren't, as good when Laurie sang and you decided to go to the studio and record again. Did that ever happen?
Yeah, but in a way, you must know when it's time to. I mean, there are probably not the record that I feel like, it's. I mean, it's always a record on record, some place that I feel like, why didn't I do like that instead?
Yeah.
But with age, you learn to live with that and accept it. But of course, it has been things that I want to redo this. Let's go back to that song and go through it again.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a good idea to do that.
Yeah. Did you sometimes, I record a radio show and sometimes the first take is the best one, but sometimes when I try to redo the takes, it just gets worse and worse to the point of desperation. And I'm like...
Yeah, that can happen also. I know exactly what you mean, because sometimes the first take is the best. And you start to redo and think that, but even if you technically do better the third time or the fifth time, you don't capture the same essence or spirit in it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same feeling. Sometimes I record like a vocal take for the radio show, I hyped or, feeling the vibe, but somehow I decided to, re-record and then I make a mistake. Then I try to record again, another mistake. And and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? The first one was fine. Let's just use it.
Yeah.
It's insane. And, we talked about Laurie and she's coming back to the live shows with Therion because, Chiara, she's having a baby and she's going to be, taking care of it. And how is to have like Laurie back to the live shows? I mean, that hasn't happened yet, but are you guys excited?
Exactly. So I'm not saying anything yet. No, I'm kidding. It's gonna be great. I mean, Laurie is like a sister for me. We became like brother and sister totally. I mean, I can enter a room where she stands half naked and she wouldn't care. It's so we're such good friends.
Yeah.
And so it's gonna be great to have her. I haven't seen her in years. I saw her the last time when she did her solo record. I don't remember what year that was. It could have been 2016 or something like that.
Yeah.
15, 16. So it's gonna be great to see her again.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And just talking about, I know Christopher was mentioning the possibility of recording the show in Mexico. Is there anything else you guys can add? It's going to be recorded, filmed. You don't know yet.
We don't know yet, but we wanted to. But we want to do it good, so we have to be able to arrange it, And it's a little bit short time, but that's something we want to do.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I think if I can make a guess, I think we will do it.
Yeah, I think would be worth it. I mean, it's going to be a very special show for you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And 2024, you guys start with that big show in Mexico. You already announced Cyprus and Greece for a couple shows as well. Are you going to do a European tour? Because you guys, before the pandemic, I think you guys were supposed to do for the Leviathan II a European tour, but you had to cancel because rising costs and everything.
Yeah.
Is there a plan still to do like a proper European tour, or you think it's going to be a bit more complicated with the way things are now with another war in the fucking Middle East? We don't know. I don't know.
I mean, the plan is that we are going to do a Europe tour. This is the confirmed date so far, but things are in the pipeline, so to speak. So watch out for the news.
I look forward to that. You guys were supposed to start actually that tour in Portugal as well. So So hopefully you can revisit those dates and put Portugal on the map as well. I mean, the show at the festival this year was really, really good, and you have a crowd, you have a fan base that is going to show up if you guys play. So, fingers crossed for the thing to happen. Because
fingers crossed for Portugal. Yeah. I wouldn't be too surprised if we come.
Yeah. I look forward to that. Thomas.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time. All the best for Leviathan 3. As I said, out of the trilogy, I think this is the most Therion one. And, some of the best songs of this trilogy are on this album for me.
Cool. I'm happy to hear that.
So, I think you got some that could really become fan favorites live. I think there's quite a few here, but, if someone hates to Megatherion, who am I to say anything?
I don't hate it. I love it. I love it.
I love it too. Anyway, Thomas, thank you very much. All the best, and hope to see you guys next year here in Portugal. All right?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Have a great day. Thank you.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.